Hi there, well, hi, I'm Pam, and as I said, I'm going to show you how to make the arms for this shrug that is really just arms. It goes across the back of your neck from one arm to the other, and I made this for a friend last summer, and I thought I would create a pattern for it. So I've made one of the sleeves, and here it is. This is a large. Last year I made it out of black, but black is really bad for videos, so I'm going to make this dusky pink one. So you can see that there's this line here. This is going to be the middle of the back, right behind your neck, just across the shoulders. And I'm going to make another sleeve that's going to connect and go out this way. So that's what I'm going to show you today, how to make the sleeve, because once you can make one sleeve, you just make two, and then you join them together across the back. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing we need to do is make our slip knot. I've got, oh, by the way, I'm using 4-weight worsted weight yarn. It's actually this kind of yarn. It's Fentex worsted weight yarn, and it comes in this nice big bundle, so you get all that you need to make it. It's a 4-weight yarn, machine washable, and there's actually 14 ounces in this pack, approximately 867 yards. So we got lots of yarn there, and I'm using a K hook. So a K hook is 6.5 millimeters typically. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using, is this K hook and the 4-weight yarn. And I'm going to start off with a slip knot. So here we go. So I wrap it around twice like this. Then I pull one over, the back one over, and then the back one over again. And I put my hook through that little hoop there and pull it tight. So that's my slip knot. Now I'm going to chain 22. Okay, so to chain, you put the yarn over your hook, you twist your hook and pull it through that loop. Now I suggest that you don't chain it too tightly, because you want it to not to be relaxed. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just a little note here, if you're brand new to crochet, I do have a couple of episodes 1 and 2, which really take you right how to chain right from the beginning. Okay, it shows you really slow how to put your yarn over the hook, twist your hook and pull it through, how you can hold the tension with your thumb. All those little tips are in there. Okay, so I'm going to go away and chain 22, and then we'll get started with row 1. Okay, I've chained 22, and now for our very first row, we are going to put the yarn over the hook, and we are going to make our first double crochet stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook. So we have to count back 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, and in that 3rd chain, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull it through 1, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. That's a double crochet. Now we're going to do right into the next chain, yarn over, into the next chain, yarn over, pull it through once, yarn over, pull it through the 2. You see how I pull with my thumb and finger to make it easy for the hook to glide through. That's 2. We're going to double crochet into every chain going down here after having started in the 3rd chain, and we should end up with 20 stitches at the end. Okay, so I'll just go down here and I'll let you go to the end. So here I am at the end, and we've got 2 more left here. This is going to be 19. I'm going to double crochet into 19 and then yarn over and into the one right at the end. That makes 20. Okay, so now we are ready to go to row 2. So we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, and now we're going to double crochet into the 1st stitch and every stitch across. Okay, so that's going to mean we'll be ending up with 20 stitches on our hook. So we're going to go into the first stitch. Now the first stitch sometimes is tricky for people to find, but it's right there, okay? We go right to the bottom. There's where we've chained the 2. We go right to the bottom, and then we go into that first stitch. So that's 1 double crochet into the next stitch, 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 3 double crochets, all the way across until you've got 20. Okay? I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so here we are at the end. We've got our last 3 stitches. 1. Here we go. Last 3 stitches. And it's always a good idea to check by counting, okay? So we're going to go back here. I don't count the chain 2. That's the turning chain. I'm not counting that in this pattern. So we're going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Now that's row 2. So we're going to chain 2, turning it like this. You can either turn and chain 2 or chain 2 and turn. Really, it's up to you. And we're going to make 2 more rows of double crochet. So that's going to be row 3 and row 4. And I'll meet you back at the end of row 4 because then we're going to start our increase rows. Okay, so off you go and make 2 more rows and I'll meet you at the end of row 4. So here we are at the end of row 4. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. I've chained up 2, ready to turn the work for row 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and let's count our double crochets. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Remember, we don't always count that turning chain in this pattern. Okay, every pattern is different, so you have to kind of look for those instructions if you're reading a pattern. So we've chained 2 up. So for row 5, we're going to increase in the first stitch and we're going to increase in the last stitch, which means we'll end up with 22 stitches, okay? Because this is the middle of the back, and we're working out to get wider to make the sleeve opening at the top of the arm, okay? So we're going to increase in the first one. So how we do that, we've chained 2. So we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet right into that first stitch, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2, and we're going to go into that same stitch again. Yarn over, into the same hole there, yarn over and pull it through, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through. And there you can see we have 2, a little V, plus our turning chain, because this is the beginning of the row. Now we're going to double crochet all the way across this row until we get to the end, and then at the very last stitch we are going to put 2 double crochets into that last stitch, okay? And remember, when you're watching these video tutorials, you can always pause them, rewind them if it's going too fast for you. So I'm double crocheting across the row, and then when we get to the end, we are going to increase, and we will have 22 stitches. Here we go, getting to the end. Sun's still shining outside, heading into the fall, but I did have breakfast outside on the deck this morning, and there were actually 4 deer out there. So here we are in the last stitch, double crochet into that stitch, and double crochet once again into that same stitch. Chain 2 and turn. And we should have 22, so let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and our turning chain. Okay, so now for row 6, we're just going to double crochet across. All right, double crochet across, and I'll see you at the end. So here I am at the end of this row. I'm just going to check that I've done the 22 stitches. You can never be too sure, right? Don't count the turning chain if you're starting from this end here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Okay, that's 22, just double crochets. No increases on row 6. But row 7, we are going to increase, double crochet across, increase in the last stitch. Okay, so that's going to be row 7. And that's, then row 9 is going to be double crochet, and row 10, I'll let you know what we're going to do there. Okay, so this is going to be row 7, so we're going to increase in the end. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pam, right? I do that, I get excited. Okay, so this is our increasing row, row 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're working on row 7. So I've done 2 double crochet into that first stitch, and we're going to double crochet across to the end and increase at the end of this row. I'm not going to film the whole thing because it makes it really a long video, and then it takes ages for me to upload it because I don't have super duper Wi-Fi here on Main Island. So I'm going to meet you at the end of this increase row. Here we are at the end of row 7, coming up to the end here. So we're double crocheting in the last stitches. And here we go. One into that stitch and another one into the same stitch, and now we should be up to 24. I'm going to chain 2, we're going to turn, and it's going to be another double crochet row, but you can see how it's starting to slant out here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23, 24, and the turning chain. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for it to keep getting bigger. So this is going to be row 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Row 8. And row 8 is just going to be another straight double crochet. Okay? Straight double crochet row. Okay, so we're at the end of row 8. And we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Okay, because that was just a straight double crochet row, so we should still have the same 24 on there. Okay, now number 9 is we're going to chain 2. Row 9, we are going to increase once again in the first stitch and the last stitch, and then we should have 26 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to start off with you, yarn over into that very first stitch there. And we're going to do 1 double crochet, and in the same stitch 2 double crochets all the way across until we get to our last stitch and make 2 double crochets in there. Okay, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, we've reached the end of row 9. We've increased on both sides of the row, and there should be 26 stitches. So we'll count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and the turning chain. So now we are going to start, and we're going to do row 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, increasing in each end of the row. Okay, so every single row from now on is going to be an increase. That's going to take us up to 36 stitches. We've got 26 on here now. So if we do row 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's 5 rows. 2 stitches a row, that's an extra 10 stitches we're going to create. Okay, so by the time you get to the end of row 14, increasing on each end, we will have 36 stitches. And I'm going to let you go and do that. Okay, increase every end of the row to 1 increase, double crochet across, and increase in the end, making 2 stitches in 1 for the next 5 rows. Okay, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are done. So we need 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 5 more rows. Okay, so I'll see you there. Here we are at the end of row 14. We're at 32, 33, 34, and then we increase in the last one, 35, and in the same stitch, 36. Okay, so this is how wide it's starting to look. Now we have done all of our increases. So I'll show you what we're going to do next. It's a little tricky part. So the next thing we're going to do is this is going to be the back, going across the middle of the back up to the shoulder. So we are going to have to create the opening for the sleeve. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to take our chain and we're going to join it to the final stitch here on this row here. So we're sort of making a loop here. So I'm going to bring my hook here, put my hook through that loop, wrap the yarn over, and just do a slip stitch. Pull it through and pull it through. And then what we've got here is our loop for making our arm. Okay, so I'll show you what we're going to do next. So now we've got this loop here. Okay, I'm going to chain 2, because we're going to start a row and we're going to be working around this way. Okay, we're just going to carry on. So we're going to yarn over, and into the very first stitch we are going to do a double crochet, and we're going to double crochet across our 36 stitches that we've already created in row 14. And we're going to double crochet all the way around. Sorry, I knocked my thing. And when we get to the chain of 8, we're actually going to go right across of the chain of 8 with double crochets. And we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that we just used to start this round. And then we're going to do something tricky. We're going to go into a spiral. So that will be the next step. And I'll show you what to do. And that will mean then that the arms are going to be created just in a spiral. We don't have to keep chaining 2 and joining to the top of the chain every time we go round, because we're working in the round now. And it would be easier once we get started with the spiral. So we're going across these 36 stitches. And we're starting to work on our arm. This will be the sort of where the shoulder joins the arm, right? So double crochet in each stitch. We're nearly there. Get myself some more yarn. Kind of like this dusky pink. Didn't know which color to use for the tutorial, but I thought this one would show up pretty clearly for you guys. The black one I did last year for Samantha turned out beautiful. It looks awesome, but it's not a good color for making crochet tutorials, that's for sure. Okay, so we're coming to the end here. Here we are. We've got one more stitch here. And then we're at, I can flip this way if I like. Makes it easier. And I'm going to see the chains, the little V's on the chain. We are going to do a double crochet into those 8 chains. Okay, so here's 1. 2, 3, into the next one, 4, 5, into the next one, 6, 7, and 8. Oops, so I make sure that it's the 8th chain here. 8, and then we're going to once you've got it all facing the right way, you'll see we have this chain 2 at the beginning here. And so we're going to go into the top of the chain 2. That's the beginning of that round, and we're going to slip stitch it. So now we have a sleeve with a complete row going all the way around here. And this is where we're going to start doing our spiral, okay? So we start the spiral because we don't want it to be too obvious that we're spiraling. So you can actually put a piece of wool in here as your marker. You can use a stitch marker if you have one, but if you don't, you can just thread a little piece of yarn in. So I've got some brown here from when I was making my granny square bag. So that's going to mark the beginning of where I start the spiral. And I'm going to go into the first stitch, and I am just going to do a, let me see what I say I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to do a single crochet. So that's pulling it up. There, that's a single. I just want to make sure I'm the same as the pattern, because if somebody gets the pattern down the road, I don't want to be doing it differently. Now we're going to go one step up is a half double crochet. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull your yarn up, and you go through all 3. That's a half double crochet. So we're kind of taking some steps. You see the single, now the half. So we are going to now do a double in the next stitch, okay? And what you can see happening is we've got the single, the half double, the double. And so we're ready now to start doing our spiral. And so what we're going to do now is we just double crochet around. And when we get to the end of this round, I'll come back and show you how we navigate that beginning section, okay? So go all the way around and I'll see you. Here I am back at where we went over the top of the chain. So I'm just going to double crochet across this row of double crochet that we did on the chain. It's exciting, getting to the end of this round. We call them rounds once we're in the round, rows when we're doing it flat. If we can remember. There. So here we go. So we're up to my stitch marker. You can see that? So I'm just gonna, you can go into the chain, top of the chain, or into here. I think I'm just going to, yeah. Okay. Now, no, that's not right. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go into where the stitch marker is. And there, well, that's where the single crochet was. Now there's a half double crochet, so we're going to go into that one. And then we've got the double crochet right there, so we're going to go into that one. Oh dear, I didn't move up my stitch marker, so what we do is we just flip it up. Put it through, flip it right through, so you can just keep moving it up, okay? And that helps you keep track. Because what we're going to do now is we just keep working double crochets round and round and round and round we go for 10 rounds. Then we're going to change hooks because this is a sleeve, and as we get nearer to the bottom of the sleeve we want it to get narrower. So we're going to change to a smaller hook, a J hook, after we have done 10 rounds, okay? So this one doesn't count because that's the first one. So now we're into the in the spiral, so this is the first of the spiral. So we're going to do 10 rounds of spiral, okay? And then I will see you back. So what we've got here now is we've got the first row that we did all the way around when we went over top of the 8 chains, right? So that was joined with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 2. Then we created our spiral in here with our single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. And that's where we started to do the spiral. So that's the first row round and we wanted 10. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows, okay? So now we're going to swap out and we're going to introduce a J hook instead of the K, which is a 6mm. It's only going down a little bit, but this will serve to start narrowing the sleeve like we have here. You can sort of see how it starts to get smaller because we're using the smaller hook, okay? And that's going to bring us down so that we're getting ready for the cuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do 9 rounds. Just carry on moving up your stitch marker as you go. And we're going to do 9 rounds of double crochet. Okay, so just count them up as you're going. And then I'll be back because I think then we're going down to an H hook. Okay, so 9 more rounds, which will take us to 19 spiral rounds and 1 double crochet row in the sleeve so far. So 9 rounds of double crochet. Okay, so what we've got now with this sleeve is we've got our row that we did double crochet that was just a regular row, and then we've got our beginning of the spiral row here, and we did 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We changed to the J hook from the K, and we did 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're changing down to an H, which is a 5mm. We're going to change to an H, and then we're going to do row 25 rows, okay, 5 rows with the H hook, 5 rounds. So that will be row 20, 21, 22, 23, oh actually yeah, 24, 5 rows, okay? And then at the end of that, I'm going to bring us out of the spiral, okay? So we get our H hook and we just carry on putting our stitch marker up, and we're now doing a smaller one, so it's going to bring us down. At the end of these 5 rounds, you see it's going to be quite a bit tighter and smaller, starting to bring us in for the cuff. I'll show you how we're going to end the spiral because we want to go back to regular rounds that are starting with a chain and ending with a joining to the top of the chain, because we're going to be getting into our cuffs eventually, okay? So we're going to do 5 rounds with the H hook, and I'll see you at the end of that. So now we have finished the 5 rows rounds with the H hook, and we are ready to go out of the spiral. So those 24 rows were all the spiral rows. We weren't counting the 1 row that we did over top of the chain, the very first row that we did. So we've got 24. Now we're going to do, because we've just done a double crochet, we're going to bring it down. We're going to step downwards with smaller stitches. So we're going to do a half double crochet where we wrap it over once and go through the 3. And then we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a slip stitch, which is where you just go in, pull it through and through. So that's leveled that out now. You can see, I'll hold it up so you can see how it's going from the double down to the treble, down to the single, down to the slip stitch, and that's going to bring us out of our spiral because we want to get prepared now to do our cuffs, okay? So the next round is going to be 25, and we're going to decrease in this row, okay? So we're going to decrease in each stitch, and to decrease, we're going to be double crocheting. So I think we need to chain up 2, and we're going to start to double crochet decrease. So we yarn over, we go into the stitch, yarn over, pull it up, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull it up, go through 3 and go through 2, and that's how we're going to be double crochet decreasing, okay? So we're going to do it in each of the, every 2 stitches are going to be turned into 1. Yarn over, into that stitch, into the next stitch, pull it through 3, pull it through 2, yarn over. Now we're going to find the next stitch here, go into that stitch, pull up, into the next stitch, pull up. That means we've got 4, go through 3, go through 2. Okay, all the way around. I'll do a slow one just in case. Okay, yarn over. There are various ways to decrease, but we're going to go into the first of the 3 stitches and pull up the thread. We're going to go into the next one and pull up the thread, and then we're going to go through 3 and then through 2. We only wrap it over for the first one, and then into the next one, pull it through 3, pull it through 2, yarn over into the next one, and yarn over to pull it up, and then into the next one without yarn over, pull that one up, and then through the 3, and then through the 2. And that's what our double crochet decreases look like. Okay, so we're going to go all the way around. So we're just coming to the end of our decrease row, and we're going to yarn over into the next one, yarn over, pull it through, then into the next one, yarn over, pull it through, and then go through the 3, and then go through the 2, and then we're going to join it to the top of that chain with a slip stitch. Okay, so we've got 22 decrease stitches now if we count it around. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Okay, so now we are getting ready to go for the cuff. Okay, so this next row, so we have 22 of the double crochet decrease stitches there. So what we're going to do now is chain up 1, and we are just going to single crochet into each stitch around. So that's going to be 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then we're going to slip stitch it into the top of the chain 2. Sorry, I hope I didn't go off camera there. We just slip stitch it into the top of the chain 2. Now that just kind of gathers everything in really neatly and beautifully, ready to set up for the cuff. So now we have to do a round of double crochet. So we're chaining up 2 for the double crochet row, and we're going to go into each stitch around to create the base for the front post double crochet, back post double crochet ribbing that we're going to do. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll let you double crochet all the way around. So here we are at the last one, 22, and then we're going to just find the top of the chain 2 that we started with, and we are going to slip stitch those 2 together. Now we're going to start our front post double crochet, back post double crochet ribbing. Okay, so the way we do this is we chain 2, and then we find that post that's down below. We put the yarn over, we insert our hook into the back and round that post coming out the front, and we yarn over and we pull it through, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. That's the front. Now for the back, we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to go in from the back and round and pull it out the back. Yarn over, pull it through 2, pull it through 2. And you can see how this one has a little piece of yarn going across because it's a back post, and this one sticks out at the front, and that's how we're going to get our rib. So let's do another front post because we're going to alternate them. Yarn over, go underneath and up the other side of that post, put your yarn over the hook and pull it through. Okay, then you put the yarn over the hook again and pull it through 2, just like you're doing a double crochet. Put the yarn over and pull it through 2. That's your front. Now the back, put the yarn over. We are going to go in from the back and over top of that post so that the post is over the hook at the back of the work. Yarn over and pull it through. Yarn over, pull it through 2. Yarn over, pull it through 2. Another front post. Here we go. Yarn over, put your hook underneath from the back, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull it over through 2, pull it through 2. And then the back one, yarn over, go in from the back, over the post, out the back, yarn over and pull it through. Yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, pull it through 2. So we're going to work all the way around doing that. Front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post until we get to the end. So I've done the front post double crochet there. You can see that's sticking out to the front. The back post is down there. You see how this is creating a rib? The front post and then the back, the front. And I've gone all the way around, alternating front post double crochet, back post double crochet into that row of double crochet below. Okay, so I've just done the last back row double crochet. I'll pull it out. So this is what it's like. You get to the end, you've just done a front post double crochet. So now I'm going to do the back. Wrap it over, go into the back, up from behind, over that double crochet in the row below, and then I'm wrapping it over and pulling through the yarn, wrapping it over, pulling it through 2, over, pulling it through 2. Okay, and now we're ready to, we have this other row, because we chained 2 to go up, we've got this extra ones, but we're just going to go straight into the top of that. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do another row, and we have here what looks like 2 because that was the chain 2 from the previous, the front post double crochet row. So we're going to actually wrap the yarn around, go under that one and under the previous front post double crochet, and just do those 2 together. This keeps it consistent. Wrap the yarn over, and now we're going to be going down, and it looks a little bit shorter, but we're going to go, that is the back post double crochet from the row below, and we're going to go up from behind, over top, and slip it into that hole, yarn over, pull it through the 2, yarn over, pull it through the 2, yarn. There. Okay, now front post, pull it through 2, pull it through 2. Yarn over, back post, go in there and down that hole so that you've got the previous back post double crochet. We're always back post double crocheting into a back post double crochet, and we're front post double crocheting into the front post double crochet. We're going to go all the way around and join it to that top. Okay, and we're going to do 7 more rows, so we'll have 8 all together. Okay, so we're going to go round. I'll meet you at the back at the end of this one and get you started on. Here we are at the end. I've just done a front post double crochet, so now I'm going to yarn over and go into the back of the very last back post double crochet from the previous round, and then I'm going to chain into the top there, just there, not chain, slip stitch, sorry. Chain 2, and here we go again. Once again, you'll see there's like a little V of the 2 stitches there because we're chaining up here, and then we're going to be doing our front post double crochet, so we're always going to end up with that extra little bit. So for the beginning, we're always going to go under those 2, under the chain 2 from the previous row and under the front post double crochet from the previous row. There we go. Now yarn over, and we're going to go up and over for the back post double crochet. Okay, and I'm going to let you go now. You've sort of got the idea. You get to the end, you slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 and keep going, and you see how the ribbing is starting to grow. So we're going to do 6 more rounds, and then we're going to be fastening off, and I'm going to just slip stitch into the top of that, and then we can cut it off and fasten it off, and we'll weave in that end. Now, you might sometimes lose track of how many rows you've done if you haven't been writing it down, and the easy way when you're doing these kind of front post double crochet, back post double crochet ribs is I count these little pieces going across. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that last one is the 8th row. Okay, so that's that one done. So now we're going to get to the part where we are going to be putting them together. So we've got this one, and then we have our other sleeve. I haven't fastened in the ends yet, so we're going to lay them out. And what we're going to do, these 2 pieces are going to be joined together because this is going to be the middle of the back. So I'm going to explain how we put it together. Okay, we need the right side facing up here. Okay, and then we need the right side facing down. So you see how the hole is underneath on this one. The armhole is actually underneath, and for this one, the armhole is here at the top because this is the right side, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. So we're putting the right sides together. Okay, and those 2 are together, and this is where we're going to do our sewing. Okay, so now you can choose how you're going to attach them together. Some people use stitch markers. Some people use little bits of yarn like this to tie them together. You can just put it through the ends. Is it going to cooperate with me? There it is. So I'm just putting it in the top of the first stitch here. And then I'm just going to just tie it in a knot. And then I'll do that at the other end and in the middle here. But really, it's if we've got the ends sewn, I could actually just use this piece and put it through the end here. So, like that. Just pull it tight. Okay. So really, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be whip stitching these 2 pieces together. And we're going to be matching those stitches as we go down. Okay, so I'm just going to go thread my little tip around threading a yarn needle. I always put my yarn like this, bend it over, like fold it over the needle, pull it through, so we've got this nice little nubble here, and just push that through. And that's an easy way to thread your yarn needle. Okay, so what I want you to remember is, I'm going to just start off with this corner here, is where we start I like to just leave a loose bit that we can actually tie a knot if we want to. And that's all going to be woven in. So you start with a knot, but if you don't like a knot, you can just make sure you do 2 or 3 times through. And then because this is whip stitching, how we do this is I just go through one side, 1 stitch on one side, and 1 stitch on the other side, and I pull it through. You could single crochet this, but I think if it's the back of a nice shrug, you don't really want a thick row of stitching. So now we're going to go through the second stitch. Just pull it through like that. Then we go into the next stitch and the next stitch at the back, always matching the stitches. And you can see the whip stitch is just like nice little tidy stitches going over there. I just give it a little tug. Keep going down. You can see how I've got one from either side on my needle. We don't want it to be too tight because we don't want it pulling like into the middle. We want it to be a nice, but we want it tight enough to not be gapey, right? This is a pretty easy garment to make when you've just got this one little seam to sew. It's so sweet. I'm really grateful to Samantha for requesting this. She gave me a picture of something made out of fabric and asked me if I could make her a crochet one last summer, and I did it in black and it turned out really nice. So here we are at the end. So we just got those last 2 stitches to do. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this piece of brown out, and on this corner here I'm just going to do 2 or 3 stitches. And what you can do is you can actually put your yarn through and put the yarn over like this and pull it through, and that creates a knot. Okay, so then I'm going to cut it off. You can make it as many times as you want, and then I'm going to weave in these ends. But when I open it, what it looks like is this, okay? And you can't even see the seam. It's so beautiful. And you have now, this goes across your back, you put your arms in, and you've got this sleeved, Samantha Sleeves Shrug, and I really like it. And I'll weave in my ends, and I think I've explained weaving in ends before. What you do is you, I'll show you, I'll do a little demo here. So I'll weave in this end. You have to go 2 or 3 different directions. The purpose of weaving in the ends is that they don't pop out while someone is wearing what you've made. So if I go down this cuff, I can go in and out of the stitches. So that's one way, right? And then you can go back on yourself there if you like. And then if you wanted to, you could cut across underneath here and then go up this side a little bit. Right? So that's 3, and that should hold in really nicely when you wash your garment. Okay? So that is how we make the Samantha Shrug, and I will get a picture with a model and post that so you get a visual. Okay, thank you so much for making this with me. It's been so much fun. Please subscribe to my channel and click on that little bell if you want notifications of when I post new patterns. But I just love the way it comes in for the sleeve and the cuff, and everything just looks really beautiful. So thank you so much, everybody. Bye and happy crochet.